Yo, hello, hey.
Hey, what's up, Mark?
Not much. How about you? How are you doing?
I'm okay, yeah. Um, I'm an
So,
atheist, and I was
Mhm.
curious about I was curious about like the room status and whether you wanted to debate like the existence of God.
yeah, I mean, there's like, there are a lot of stuff that we can debate, sure, right? And
Sounds good.
so you said you're an atheist, or did you say you're an agnostic?
I'm an atheist.
Okay. So what does it mean really? Like when you said that you're an atheist, does it mean that are you actually saying that the proposition God doesn't exist is true, or are you saying that you don't know if a God exists or not? You need evidence or something.
I would say that the proposition that the Abrahamic God does not exist is a true proposition.
Okay, so what makes it true?
It would be entailed by the contradictory properties that he contains, such as the incompatibility of his omniscience with his. Excuse me, I'm just having a drink. Sorry. Like, it's going to be the case that if he's omniscient, then his future is epistemically closed, so he can't be a rational agent, basically, because that's what it means to be a rational agent. Your future has to be epistemically open.
So, I mean, like, I'm asking you, what makes it true, right? If a proposition, um, you know, uh, if a proposition is true, then something in reality must make it true, right? Um, you said, like, I mean, the thing is, from what I understand, right? Like, what you're saying is that okay, that there's um, basically that, like, you know, I mean, honestly, I'd like for you to restate this thing more precisely. Are you saying that that God's omniscience conflicts with, God being a rational agent? Like, I mean, the thing is, like, if God knows
Yeah.
all the future actions ineffably, right? In a like a infallible way, right? So,
Yeah.
like, you're saying that then God cannot deliberate or act freely, or like, I'm not sure what's the argument.
Well, the argument is just basically that like to be a rational, practical agent, right? You're gonna have to have an epistemically open future. Omniscience bars you from having an epistemically open future. The reason, if you wanted further explanation as to why an epistemically open future is required for being a practical agent, is because that there's necessary conditions that instantiate being a practical agent, such as the capacity to deliberate, the possibility, sorry, the capacity to, like being an agent is already kind of like a thick concept. It already has like a lot of conditions that are tied to it. Otherwise, you're just a subject, basically. You're a subjective mind that's experiencing the world around you. But an agent is going to encompass, deliberation, reason, responsiveness. You're going to be lacking foreknowledge, so your actions are causally efficacious in a way that you're not aware of, right? If you're aware of all future actions, all possible actions, necessary actions, contingent actions, whatever the case may be, whatever our modal scope is, it's going to be the case that you're not. You cease to be a practical agent unless you're invoking some sort of idiosyncratic notion of agency that's going to be stripped thin of all of the necessary conditions that are, basically contained within the explanation.
Hmm. So, like, I mean, okay, I mean, there's let's break it down a little bit. So, like, I mean, okay, so let me check something if I you know understand your claim correctly.
Yeah, sure.
So, are you saying that omniscience is incompatible with any rational agency, or are you saying that, specifically with the deliberate choice-based agency?
Yeah, like I take it that say that God is praiseworthy or blameworthy. is to hold him in high regard, such that he's that he's a practical agent, and he can respond to reasons. His actions can be efficacious in a way that he's either like upholding the place of someone that's blameworthy or praiseworthy. Otherwise, we would just essentially be praising. It would be analogous to praising a statue or an automaton or a piece of music, something that isn't actually an agent, right? Or praising someone that's cognitively disabled, like a moral patient, for example. That's just going to also be true of God if it's the case that his future is epistemically closed, unless you would like disagree with that.
So what exactly is the principle for like to connect something like okay, knowing all the future facts and being unable to be deliberate? I mean, this is kind of the
You're
issue.
saying what? Are you? I'm not sure what you're asking me. You asking me like the inconsistency or the incompatibility of having complete conceptual knowledge and being a practical agent.
Like, I mean, let's take for example, you're saying that okay, like for example, you said epistemically open future. So, like, are you saying that the multiple outcomes are like that there are multiple outcomes that can be metaphysically possible, or are you saying that an agent is uncertain about which will occur? I mean, like, yeah, this is the thing. Like, I mean, um, I guess I mean, so I just want to separate a few things here. Like, for example, this point I just mentioned, like the thing that you said about like epistemically open future. So
Yeah.
is that a metaphysical openness, or is that just a
Well, when I
uncertainty?
say yeah, if I may, like when I'm way that I'm defining an agent is, I'm just saying that like agency is going to be determined by your capacity to be a rational agent, and that's going to be determined by your ability to form an intention. And what it means to form an intention is to be uncertain about something, right? So if at like time X I decide to do like something like I decide to do P at time X, right? Um, then there's some sort
Yeah,
of
but
uncertainty. I'm not fully
why
that
would
will actually
knowing
unfold.
future? I'm
Sorry.
just asking, why would knowing the future prevent intentional action or like some responsiveness to like reasons or something, right?
Well, I'm saying that like intentionality is going to have like, wouldn't you agree? Intentionality is going to have built into the idea a certain level of uncertainty. If you have the intention to like pass a certain fitness goal that you've set for yourself, you're not fully certain on whether or not you're going to actually succeed in that fitness goal due to the epistemic openness. If it was the case that you knew, then like even forming an intention is just going to be it's just going to be identical to doing an action, right? It's going to be like an autonomous,
I mean,
sorry, not
so
automatic,
are you
like
saying that
instantaneous
are you
response.
saying uncertainty
Agents.
is logically are you saying that uncertainty is like logically required to form intention, or are you simply saying that okay, like human beings, we usually experience uncertainty when we form
Yeah.
intention, right? So like, yeah, I mean, why would an agent need to be uncertain about the outcome in order for in order to
Sure.
intend an action, right? Because the point is, it seems like you're under the assumption that intention is identical to being under uncertainty. I mean, that's not a definition, right? It's
Well,
just like
well,
one model
but
of intent. Like for example,
yeah, sure. I think that
like
go
if
ahead.
I know I will do something, why can't I still intend it and do it for reasons? Like for example, okay, I intend to raise my arm, right? I know I will raise my arm, and I still do it intentionally. So I mean, knowledge and the loss of intention aren't identical. This is the thing. Like I mean, the like like it seems like uncertainty doing a lot of explanatory work in your model, right? Like I mean, the thing is, in uncertainty supposed to be a psychological feature of, I don't know,
I think
decision
that you're a
making?
bit
Or
confused.
is it something of a
I,
logical requirement for intentional action? Which one is it?
I think you're a bit confused because of my argument about God ceasing to be a rational agent is not to claim that he lacks knowledge. My whole point is that he has absolute knowledge, right? And that's what bars him from being an agent. I'm not saying that it is entailed that he lacks knowledge due to that.
No, no, no. I wasn't saying that he lacks knowledge. I'm saying, like, I was challenging your assumptions that you're making, that somehow, like, for example, the thing about, like, okay, I'm just asking you questions, like, okay, are you saying that the uncertainty is a necessary condition for intentional action? Because it looked like you were kind of making that argument. And or
I mean,
maybe I misunderstood. Maybe you're saying that, okay, human beings, we like typically experience uncertainty as we intend to do things, right? Like, so, because once again, like, I can intend to do something, at the same time be uncertain, I can be certain that I will do it, right? So why would
yeah,
the
that's
uncertainty
just
be a logical
right.
requirement for intentionality? That's what I'm asking. It's not about, okay, whether the argument is about, like, so like, so the thing is, okay, you're saying, okay, it's not just omniscience that removes the knowledge, right? That's not the thing. But you're saying that, okay, omniscience removes the condition for agency, it seems, right? That's kind of the
Right,
argument
yeah,
at this point. So
yeah, exactly.
what exactly is the condition that gets removed, right? I mean, so what is the exact step from, let's say that, okay, from, like, okay, God being omniscient, he knows all the outcomes, right? How do you move from there to, like, okay, that means he's unable to act intentionally? If that
That's
is the
true.
case,
Well,
right? Yeah, go ahead.
respond, but yeah, so like the issue, I'm really careful not to conflate between like expectations and intentions, right? So like it might, let's say under like an expectation, right? Like I might know with, let's just say, I mean it's going to be inductive, but let's just say probabilistically I know, there's like a 98% chance, and I feel very confident in the fact that the sun's going to rise tomorrow morning, right? Because there's no uncertainty there in like my current awareness, right? I can't intend to make the sunrise tomorrow. I just like passively await it, right? That's going to be analogous to raising my arm if it's the case that I already know with absolute certainty that I'm going to raise my arm within 10 minutes. Whereas if we compare that to like intention, if I say that, like, look, I think I have the intention set out, like this dispositional state to set out to make like a cup of tea for my girlfriend or something in 10 minutes. Well, actually, like, I'm wondering, like, what makes that an intention? I'm guessing that it's just going to be because that, like, until I actually form the thought and execute the thought, and it's an expectation, right? It's a commitment, I should say. I commit to that intention in my agential, like, dispositional states, and then the future and that's due to the future being epistemically open. So, of course, the act of deliberating under intentional states in a sort of epistemically open sense is going to be like it's going to be completely different to someone that knows. I know I can't intend to make the sunrise tomorrow. If God knows that he's going to like burn down a village tomorrow with absolute 100% infallible knowledge, he can't intend to do it because there's absolutely no uncertainty, right? So it already has intention, already has baked into it uncertainty, whereas expectation doesn't have baked into it uncertainty. Does that
Okay,
make
right.
sense?
So, like, so, like, the thing is, like, right from the beginning, right? Are you, like, defining intention as something that, something that only exists under uncertainty, or are you saying that the intention necessarily requires uncertainty?
I take it that that's just what I take it that, like, if we're defining intention and stripping it of like uncertainty, then it's not really meaning attention is anymore. It's just about expectations and like kind of hopefulness or something, right? But even hopefulness kind of has baked into uncertainty as well. So like I would say that it would just be a specific like epistemic state of a rational mind, and a rational agential mind is going to be strictly like something that human agent has. Some humans don't have it, and they're like moral patients. They're not moral agents, for example. Um, But I would just say, to answer your question, like I
Can
don't
you
want to go on
like
too long. Like,
answer the question, please? Instead of like like kind of like obfuscating. The
how am
question I
I
asked.
clear on the definition? Like,
Yeah, what's the question I asked you? Can you tell me what was the question? Just so that
you asked
I
me how I
understand
you
your thinking.
yeah you literally just asked me how I am defining intention, and then I explained how I'm defining it.
I mean, so is it definitional or is it like necessary that intention requires
Well, I take,
answer?
well, I take it that definitions or abstractor is going to be it's going to be something that's contingent upon actual phenomena. So like there's a phenomena of how agential minds, rational agential minds work. We build a definition around that. We don't live our lives according to definitions, right?
I mean, like, why would the certainty about what you will do turn an intention into simply just the expectation and instead of like still simply being an intentional action like you knowingly carry out, right? I mean, so I had a lot to respond to, but I mean, the point is like, what I was gonna say is that first of all, I asked you the
Answer that
question
question.
like, okay, are you defining intention as something that only exists under uncertainty, or
Yeah, that's
is it something that is necessary, right? For
but
like, okay,
God necessarily knows. God necessarily knows that He'll do X at time T, right? When we talk about modality, we're talking about necessity, possibility, and
but
contingency,
that's
right?
not the
If
question.
it's
I
the
mean,
fact that he
if
100%
you're
knows, wait,
again,
I'm not finished yet. Can you let me finish instead of talking over me? If he knows with 100% certainty that he's going to do X at time T tomorrow, then that's a necessary fact about his dispositional state and his foreknowledge, right? So it can't be the fact that it's contingent or possible, and that's just going to bar him from actually acting intentionally or doing otherwise. It's a complete inevitable fact, right? That's the whole point.
are you done? Like, I mean, bro, you gave two long lectures, and I didn't get to respond to anything. I like asked you a question, and then once again, you were like,
That's
throwing
this
out
again.
all.
You
So,
asked me a question, I
listen.
answered it, and you said
Okay,
I took
okay.
too long
So,
to answer it. Like,
all right.
bad
Okay,
faith because
okay.
you're getting cooked.
Oh, am I getting cooked? Oh, wow. I mean, like,
Yes.
okay, bro. Like, I mean, I
Repeat
can
what I
even
said,
see
right?
how stupid you sound like right now, right? So I'm fine with. Listen. So the point is like I'm fine with the definitions tracking the phenomena, right? The most important point you made there. Okay, I mean, which is by the way a lot, right? Because you like this is exactly what's under dispute. That like okay, how do you even actually know that conceptualization matches to reality? But anyway, the right now the question was like if your definition is actually tracking all cases of agency, or is it only the human subjective experience of uncertainty, right? I mean, if an agent, right, if an agent knows with certainty what they will do, why does it remove the intentionality instead of just removing some form of some uncertainty that they may have, right? Do you think that someone cannot intentionally like raise an arm if they know with certainty that they will raise it?
Yeah, no, I don't think that they can. I think that they can expect to do, but I've already clearly defined what I mean by intentionality and expectation and why they're different, and one is precluded being
Yeah,
intentional.
I mean, I've already made a point about that. Like, for example, I mean, see, the thing is, okay, so if I mean, let's go with that, right? So, um, you said you already defined intentionality and expectation. So, like, no matter the counter example. So, like, are you making a definitional claim or a metaphysical claim that you know, uh, like, this is what agency in reality requires? If one thing is the definitional claim, right, in which you're saying, okay, this is what we mean by agency, or are you saying that no, in terms of the metaphysics, right, this is exactly what it means in reality for someone or something to be agent, right? I mean, that's the point. Like, I mean, if
I'm speaking about
intention is, listen, if intention is defined, if you define it as like okay, something that requires uncertainty, then the conclusion that you're trying to make, that the omniscience exclude intention, that follows by definition, right? Not an argument. So what intent and reason is there for defining agency that way, right? I mean, does your definition actually describe all the possible agents, or is it only just the human agents as we experience them or something, right? I mean, because once again, if it is, I mean, you don't realize like how you're conflating all these things, right? If it is only human, then that does nothing to God. Like like you just refuted your own argument in that case. And if it is all agents, then you made a strong claim,
I
right? Then you have to justify excluding other coherent model of agency.
sorry, what part was there a question there?
So
Because you
if
said
a
like
being
I don't know, a lot.
if a being acts intentionally with full knowledge of what they will do, what exactly is
But
the missing thing
you're begging,
in
you're
that?
begging the question, saying that I can intend to do X at time t because I can intend to do X at time
No,
t. I've already
I'm
given you
asking what would be,
why.
how is that begging the question? Begging the question is like when
How
you
is that begging the
actually
question? I just begged the question.
what?
I can intend to do X at time t because I can
I'm
intend to do
asking
X
you.
at time t.
My
That's like
question to
exposing
you.
begging the
Listen,
question.
my question to you. Okay, so you're cooking me, right? So like, to tell me how, if a being is acts intentionally, if a being acts intentionally with full knowledge, with certainty of what they will do, what is the missing thing that makes it non-agential?
Contingency, right? Because God is a necessary being. It's going to be the case that he necessarily knows, like I said before, they'll do X at time t, and
What is my
modality is
question to you?
contingency and
Wait,
contingent.
wait a minute. What was my question? What was my question? Did I ask you about God? What was my
And I
question?
don't really know whether there is a question there. I kind of like can properly understand you. Can you like repeat it?
Yeah, to explain it again, right? So the thing is, what I was asking is basically two things, right? Like, okay, is if a being, um, you know, he acts intentionally with full knowledge of what they're going to do, what will he do, right? So what is the missing thing that makes it non-agential? If it is like you're saying, okay, this is non, you know, uh, agential, then what would be that thing that makes it non-agential? And like, is your argument that omniscience is incompatible with agency, or are you
Yes,
saying
yes.
that the
That's
omniscience
the whole argument. Yeah. Did
yeah,
you
so,
not like you understand my argument, right? Like you do get what I'm trying to say, right? You seem to be asking for clarification on the argument
yeah,
itself. I can
I'm
like
asking you
repeat
to
it.
clarify. Like, the point I'm making is that, are you making a definitional point about how you're using the word intention, or is it a metaphysical claim about what agency in reality requires? Because if intention is defined as something that requires agency, then the conclusion that omniscience is, exclude the agency, follows by definition.
It's
And if
yeah,
it is a
it's
metaphysical claim, then why
right, like I
why
can
would
explain.
you think?
You have to let me talk, right? If you want me to like answer you. Yeah, so like again, it's going to be like a definitional bridge that I'm using to force out like a metaphysical conclusion regarding the incompatibility of his complete absolute foreknowledge with his ability to act intentionally, because an omniscient being has perfect infallible knowledge of its future from the beginning of time. And basically it requires contingency, the ability to either do otherwise in some sort of compatibilistic sense or some sort of libertarian free will sense. But considering you're a Muslim, I'd assume that you believe in God having some sort of compatibilist free will or humans having some sort of compatibilist free will. I'm not entirely sure, but let me put it this way. Okay, so like if God's future actions are 100% like certain, then they're unchangeable, right? They're already locked in, right? Like he loses contingency, right? That becomes modally necessary, right? That's the opposite of like contingency. So you can't say that like he can still be an intentional agent. Otherwise, you're just redefining what it means to be an intentional agent, both definitionally and metaphysically.
Sorry, what is the last part? Both definitional and what? And metaphysical?
Metaphysically, right? Because the definition is just going to be like basically it's basically contingent upon what it means for like these two like necessity and contingency to be like incompatible, right? Like when we talk about the definitions, we're talking about like the actual how they refer to the actual like world, right?
Hold on. So let's go back a little bit. Is your argument, that like if something is known infallibly, then it becomes morally necessary and it cannot be otherwise? Is that the argument?
Yeah, I mean,
Hello?
it can't be contingent if it's necessary. Those two are like incompatible, obviously.
Okay. So I mean, what, like, how do you, like, what method did you use to, to make this jump from, okay, infallible knowledge to then, metaphysically necessity?
Wait, what? Wait, so it seems like
It seems like to
you're
me, it
making the
seems like
same
to me
distinction
that
between
you're,
like
listen.
metaphysics, right? But like
So
the whole
it
point
seems
is
like,
that like the actual
hold
definitional
on. So
side of
I let you
things
talk, right?
is
Okay,
speaking
wait,
to reality in the world.
wait a minute. So the entire time I'm letting you talk, and you're like, oh, you're not letting me talk, and then, like, as soon as I start having conversation instead of monologuing, I ask you a simple question, yes or no, easy question, and then you go on another monologue, right? So keep talking over me. So the point is, like, it seems like you're under the assumption that something known with certainty, then it must be identical to, something cannot be otherwise, right? I'm saying, like, I don't see how that logically follows, right? And I'm okay. So let's not waste too much time on this thing, right? So once again, my question to you, right? I want you to respond to this thing. Hold on. So are you saying that because God has infallible knowledge, so then the future modally necessary, like, so future is then modally necessary, and therefore he cannot really act otherwise, right? That's a different argument. And so you're saying that therefore that removes the intentional agency, because if so, right, if that is the argument, then what methodology, what principle can you point to that actually makes this move justified, from infallible knowledge to the metaphysical necessity, right? The metaphysical necessary. So because it seems like you're equating the epistemic certainty with the moral necessity. I mean, those are different categories. Those are completely different categories. And even if, by the way, another point, even if the future is fixed, right? Why would that remove the intentional action instead of, something that just means, like, like that God's intentions are part of what fixed the future? Like, I can perfectly imagine a world like that, right? I mean, where human beings have the free will and all that kind of stuff. This isn't even about the free will. And as for, okay, like, what do Muslims believe? I mean, like, you can, for example, maybe look up something like, I don't know, Molinism, right? Or something like that. I mean, like, I can just use libertarian free will with this model. But anyway, yeah. But oh, did I mute this guy already? Oh, I didn't realize. Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, I didn't realize that you're muted. Sorry, you're muted the entire time.
You want me to speak now?
Yes,
You
yes.
may talk,
Can you
yeah.
please answer the question?
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm clearly not conflating between like definitions and metaphysics here. If I was saying something that like, if I was saying something purely definitional, like I was just saying, like old bachelor is defined as a married man, therefore the universe is like physically like instantiates like some sort of the universe will physically like block a bachelor from walking into like some sort of wedding dress shop or something. That would be like conflicting too. But like I'm just saying that like an engine, let's say God is the engine, is going to be like I don't know, fucking like he's defined as something that has this necessary condition of X, and this necessary condition of X is incompatible with this other necessary condition of Y, right? Which is defined and understood metaphysically as being epistemically like sorry, it's necessarily like the case that that would be contingent, right? Like we're talking about the fact that if we want to say that like he had the belief from the beginning of time, right? He's always had the belief that he'll do X at time t a billion years in it, like in the future, right? It's going to be the case that like yesterday or a billion years ago, whatever the case may be, God held a belief that he'll do action A at time t, right? So unless his belief is incorrect and he held a false belief, then it's necessarily the fact that he will do X at time t, right? Otherwise, his foreknowledge is infallible. So like you can't have like your cake and eat it too, you know?
So, like, I mean, what's wrong with partial explanation, right? Like, for example, like, God, like, for example, libertarian free will.
Mhm.
Uh,
I'm not sure what you're asking me.
I mean, uh, so, for example, with libertarian free will, right? Like the way we do what we do, right? For example, like imagine in terms of like reality, right? So the fact that, I mean, free will isn't really, something that like, for example, with the libertarian free will model, right? Something isn't causing you to act the way you're doing, right? Like, so the point is, like, your argument depends in principle that if it was infallibly true in the past that God will do X at time t, then it is now necessary that God does X at time, right? So what
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
just
sure.
asking,
So,
yeah, so what is the
it's all,
principle that makes the past true belief generate the present necessity?
I don't know what your theory of like action is. Like if you're like a libertarian about
Oh,
freedom, and if it's the case that
oh,
do you believe that everything has a necessary cause, or do you not?
no, you just don't just ask a question with another question. The point is, you seem to be under the assumption that past truth and infallibility automatically follows from there that there is moral necessity, right? That doesn't follow. Why does, the fact that, okay, it was true that God will do X, right? Why does it mean that God cannot do otherwise now? Or simply, instead of simply that, okay, God will do X as He will.
Well, it's following a logical principle called the inference of necessity, right? So if it's the case that like it's not necessary, then it's contingent, and his foreknowledge was infallible. I don't know why I have to keep explaining it.
I mean, like, okay, you gave an example, like, for example, the like the cake thing, a cake and eat it, right? I mean, like, so for example, it seems like you're treating that, okay, something could have been otherwise as impossible, like whenever a proposition is infallibly true in the
Yeah.
past, right? But is that a logical principle, or you're defending, or like an intuition about the predictability? I mean, look, my point is that, okay, why would the fact that, okay, something was infallibly known, why would that entail that it cannot be otherwise, instead of simply that, it will in fact occur, right? Like, are you just assuming that foreknowledge fixes reality, or is it that, okay, it just reflects what the agent will do?
Okay. I think that you asked like three questions at once, so like could you maybe like ask me like one at a time so that I can sort of like answer them, like as we go along, as opposed to like trying to like fit in like multiple answers in one.
So, like, um well, I mean, okay, so what like, so what if the ability to do otherwise is the real feature of agency, right? I mean, like, for example, libertarian free will, right? And the foreknowledge doesn't, remove that, but simply tracks the thing. How about that?
You're saying, what if God can have libertarian free will, and if his foreknowledge of doing X at time t tracks the thing, it doesn't actually. I mean, at that point, I would just want you to instantiate like what you mean by libertarian free will and give an argument for it, because I'm pretty sure
I'm
you
simply
believe in.
asking you, I'm asking you, why must the foreknowledge determine the action instead of simply depending on the will of the
I can.
agent?
Yeah, well, this is going to determine on like the response that you have to this question, right? So, like, you take it that God can have false beliefs, or can he not have false beliefs?
Sorry, what's the question? Sorry, again.
I said, do you take it that God can have false beliefs, or he cannot have false beliefs?
God knows like all the true propositions. So therefore, I mean, it logically also follows the false propositions as well. I mean, like we need to make a distinction here, right? Like the thing is, you're mixing the libertarian free will and foreknowledge and what counts as false belief, right? I mean, the point is like when you said that, okay, like something like false belief, okay. So like
Confused.
what does it mean? Does it mean that like an incorrect belief about what will happen, or are you saying like, okay, the
Yeah,
infallible knowledge
I'm asking
in
you. I'm asking you, can God have false beliefs? And you said no. So then you're walking into like
what do you mean by
necessity at that point. No
when did I say
contingent.
no?
Kind of not knowing.
And like, how do you mean? Like, what did I say that looked like, okay? I
Do
said
you?
no.
I don't want to be rude. Like I know you're being respectful, but like, do you know what we mean by like modality? Like what contingency and necessity of like pertaining to get you down at this point?
All right, okay. So I mean, like, at this point, it's trolling, honestly. Like, I mean, I don't think that.
No, I'm not. I'm just being good faith. Like, do you know what necessity and contingency are talking about? Because we need to like agree on semantics so that like I know that you know what you're talking about, right?
Yeah. So, like, what do you think?
I
What do you
asked, I
think? Like,
asked you the question, right?
what I'm telling you, like, I mean, you're now asking about, okay, can God have false belief? But
Wait,
but that
can you answer
isn't
my
what you
question
mean.
before I answer your question?
Listen,
Do you know
your
what I
your
mean when I
question.
say it's contingent, not necessary? Because I have priors that like had priors that you don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, but okay, then like, I mean, I don't know what to do with you. Sure, I mean, go ahead
I
and
I'd love it if you answered the question.
yeah, fuck this thing, man. This trolls. Honestly, just get lost, bro. Like, yeah, let's ban this troll once and for all. Okay, what a waste of time. What a loser. This type of trolls. Honestly, I mean, why do you trolls exist? Honestly, like, just explain to me why such a troll like you actually exists in this world, in Discord or something.